Welcome back to English for All. I'm Stephen. Today I'm going to be talking about William Shakespeare's Sonnet 18. Last time I ended the video with the poem. Today I'm going to begin with the poem again and then we're going to talk about it. So, Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So there we have the famous poem, which is often misunderstood as a love poem, as I said in the last video. Sonnet 18 isn't a love poem, it's about friendship. Shakespeare's talking about his friend. The first two lines, he says that explicitly. He says, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You are lovelier and more pleasant, he says. And then in the next four lines, lines 3 to 6, Shakespeare talks about the summer. He says the summer is too windy. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. That's the spring flowers, late spring. And the hot summer winds ruin the garden. Then he says, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. So he's saying that summer is too short. That's the lovely metaphor there with the summer's lease. A lease is a rental contract. And so he's saying that summer's rental contract is too short. Wonderfully modern when you think about it, once you deconstruct the language, the archaic language, and understand what he's talking about. Then he says that sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. Obviously, the eye of heaven is the sun, another metaphor. And he's saying that sometimes it's too hot in summer. And often is his gold complexion dimmed. Extended metaphor there, saying that the sun's face is often dimmed by the clouds. This is an English summer. It's short. And so Shakespeare's saying that compared to summer, summer's great, but compared to summer, you're better. Because summer comes and goes. I don't know if you've ever heard the expression a fair weather friend. I'll talk more about that later in another video, but that's what Shakespeare's actually talking about here for the advanced listeners. Shakespeare is comparing his friend to summer and saying that his friend is the opposite of summer in the sense that summer is inconsistent. It comes and goes and it doesn't last. And then if you take that to the allegorical level, Shakespeare is talking about friendship itself and about different types of friends. There are friends who are sunny and they're happy to be with you while everything's going great, and who then abandon you when the weather turns ugly. And so we'll talk more about the allegory in another lesson. For young learners, you may not know what that means, what an allegory is, and I'll explain that to you in another video. I just want to finish this one. I'm going to keep these videos short. It's easier to upload them onto YouTube. And if you like these videos, please subscribe or like the video and send me some feedback. If the comments aren't open, they will eventually be open. I'm going to be making many videos about poetry and stories. You can leave comments about what you'd like me to talk about. So just finally talking about the sonnet itself, the form, the poetry form. The sonnet has 14 lines and it ends with a rhyming couplet. So the rhyming couplet is the beautiful, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. That wonderful rhyming couplet at the end. Excuse me. So a sonnet has 14 lines, ends with a rhyming couplet. And the key to the structure of Shakespeare's poetry, and all poetry in those times, is that it uses iambic pentameter, which is where there's a syllable pattern. And every line has 10 syllables. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You can do that with every line with your fingers, or you can clap it. Yeah, you can clap the syllable sounds. The clapping is good, particularly for young learners, because it never fails. If you clap out, like with music, if you clap the syllable sounds, if you clap the words, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You'll always get the correct pattern, like with the drum beat in a song. It creates a pattern, it creates a rhythm, right? And that's the power of iambic pentameter, sometimes called blank verse, which is more in the plays. And Shakespeare uses iambic pentameter or blank verse in his plays, in his famous plays, as well, in the great soliloquies, to be or not to be, and so on. But it's particularly prominent in the sonnets where he uses iambic pentameter and the lines are the same length. Like I say, that creates a wonderful rhythm. All traditional poetry has a very strict structure, and that gives it rhythm. Remembering that we're talking about societies that are semi-literate, the poems need to be memorable, like songs. People need to be able to memorize them so they can repeat them at parties and share them with their friends without having the text in their hand, because paper was expensive, books were rare. So a poem had to be memorable. And of course, iambic pentameter is part of that process of making it memorable. So people can memorize the lines and then they can repeat them at will wherever they go. So that's part of the beauty and the power of that poetry of those times and of all rhyming verse. So thank you. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.